Hey, welcome back. I'm going to talk about the do's and don'ts of going overseas. And there's a lot of people that go overseas. Okay, well, I'm just going to say men, women, whatever. There's a lot of people that go overseas and they do things that they really shouldn't be doing. And I'm going to discuss this here. This is things you should do and do not do. One thing a lot of men do, or even some women do, is when they go overseas, they just expect everybody to be poor, and their $20 will do whatever they want that person to do. And so they get demanding and they get bossy, and they think that just because they have an American passport or a foreign passport and they have $2,000 to their expense for the last 2 weeks, they own the place. Well, you don't. You got to remember that airplane that comes in is owned by probably a local national. You forgot the hotel you're staying at is probably by a local national. There are rich people. There are doctors in countries. There are businessmen in the country, businesswomen in the country. They own the taxi services. They own the hospitals. They own the hotels. They own the restaurants. They're making money. So some people that you might meet may actually have more money in their pocket at any given time than you do all year long. So don't just assume that you're in a third world country that everybody is poor, because it's not the way. And respect the culture. This is another one. Respect the culture. Read up on the culture. Like Renee was saying, you really do have to travel to experience a lot of the culture. Culture is music, religion, the way people interact. This is the culture. You can read it in a book. You can read it on the internet. It'll give you a rough idea. I always say do it. It'll give you a rough idea how to act in a country. But until you actually go to that country, you really don't truly understand the culture. Because if you look at the United States, we do have a mainstream culture. But basically that mainstream culture is people who are, as I would say, you need to keep your distance from people like 3 feet. And basically a lot of people don't like people that speak really loud. And that's pretty much it. And American culture is based upon German culture and African culture. And believe it or not, these are the two main prominent influences on our culture. The German food and the African food are the #1 cultural influences on our food. Now, that's not always true, because if you look in the Northwest United States, Asian food has been one of the primary influences. If you look in the Southwest, Spanish food or Mexican food has been a great influencer. The Midwest, it'd be the Germans. This South would be the African. And the Northeast, it would be the English. But primarily, our food is based upon German and African. Even our music is based upon African music. So you can't say that Americans all have one. And then you have different groups of immigrants that came in, and primarily their culture is still prominent in certain areas. So like in New England, you'll still hear people talking with a deep New England accent because their ancestors grew up there, and for the last 200-300 years there's been very little influence from outside to change the accent and everything. So just respect the culture. It's not your culture. Don't go there and say, oh, you shouldn't do that because we don't do that at home, so you need to change for me. You need to accept that culture. You need to accept the way people do things outside of the United States or outside of your country. It's not your country, and it's not your obligation to try to tell them to change for you. You need to accept other people's cultures. Another one is, don't think everyone's going to speak English or your native tongue and get mad when they don't. You need to learn a few phrases, and please and thank you goes a lot ways. Learn a few words. That way, if you go in and you want to order chicken, you can say you want chicken. They will understand you. They might not understand you. I've had that happen to me several times where I've drawn maps, I've written in Korean, I've told them, and they're still looking at me like they do not know what I'm talking about. And the worst part is when you start to getting agitated because no one can be that dumb when you showing them a picture of Korea. Write down the words of the city you need to go to, circle it, tell them in Korean you want to go here, and then sit there and listen to them saying, I don't understand. And the worst part is when you have somebody from an American come over that's a Korean American saying, oh, I know what you're talking about. And they explain it to the person, they're still like, I don't know. Don't get upset by it. So try it. Don't act like a tourist. I've seen this happen so many times, and it's offensive. There was two guys in the United States. I'm not even going to tell you their names. It was just embarrassing as an American, because they would go around the world, two men, and they would drop their pants in front of national monuments around the world and get pictures of them from their behind, and they would post it on their Facebook page. And they thought, I don't know why, seriously, I do not know why two guys would go around the world, drop their pants, and have their buttocks exposed so the world could see their buttocks in front of a national monument from another country. To me, that's so they actually got arrested. So don't act like you can do whatever you want because you're on vacation, you have money, people aren't going to say anything, you're an American, you can do whatever you want in that country. No. Don't act like a tourist. Just act like you're going with the flow, you listen, you talk to people, you know what they're doing, everything's fine. Don't flash money. I mean, if you go in there in the Philippines and you're flashing money, if you're in Taiwan, if you're in other countries, some of these poorer countries, you may wind up getting killed over $10, over $20. So keep your money hidden, and it actually shows a lot of disrespect when you're going around flashing money, because you're trying to say, look at me, I got a lot of money and you don't, and you're very much insulting everybody. And don't think everybody's there to do what you want just because you're from another country. Don't think someone's going to open the door for you. Don't think somebody's going to bring you soda at your will or beer. Don't think that you're just going to sit outside. A taxi driver's going to come right up to you, because they're not. I remember one time I needed to take a taxi from Bangkok to Chonburi, and a taxi driver slowed down, and I waved. And he slowed down, and I was getting ready to get in the car, and he saw another Thai guy in front of me, so he took off and got the Thai guy. And not a problem. I mean, I was a little not happy about it, but here's the but part. Another taxi driver came behind me, and he got about a 2,000 baht, so about a $70 fare from me. He got about $70 from me to take me to the place, because it was like 2 or 3 hours. And the other taxi driver probably got about a 50 baht fare, about $2. So the other taxi driver just did it to himself. And so don't think everyone's going to wait on you. Some countries, they don't hold the doors. You could be walking behind somebody, they'll open the door and they'll slam right in your face. They'll just won't even hold it, like you're not even standing there. Other people will walk right in front of you and get in line, and like you're not standing there. So don't just accept it. I mean, other than the person walking in front of you, that happened to me a lot in Cambodia. And when I told the person to get back in the line, a lot of people actually started laughing because they thought it was funny that I told them to get in the back of the line. Another one is American food served everywhere. Don't expect American food to be served everywhere. It winds up that a lot of people think just because they're on vacation, they can order a hamburger at every single place, and the hamburger is going to taste like the hamburger in America. It's not. Some places put cabbage on hamburgers. Some people put Caesar salad. Some hamburgers are soy. So don't think every single hamburger you have is going to taste like hamburger you eat in America, or they're going to have food, American food. And like I said, one time in Cambodia, I ordered a hot dog, and I was expecting it to come on a bun because the picture they had was a hot dog on a bun, and it wound up, it was chopped up into small little bits, had some local ketchup thrown on it, and I gave me it on a plate with a toothpick. And I'm looking at it like, I want a hot dog on a bun. I don't want this. So I wound up giving it away. And sometimes you might not even be served because the person's so afraid of not being able to speak English that they'll just ignore you. And you're just sitting there, just waiting to be served, and no one's serving you. So just go with the flow and learn some of the language, because if you learn some, it's easier to get some service, and you can actually ask for how to order food or drinks or some stuff, and people will actually appreciate it a little bit more, and they'll actually some will actually come out and speak English. This is what happened one time in the Philippines. I was on a bus going to Samar, and no one would talk to me. I'm talking, no one would say a word to me. And we stopped at a bus stop, and a lady was trying to wake her husband up, and she was outside the bus, and he wasn't responding. So I walked over to him, and I spoke Tagalog. I was like, "Gising na, wake up, to sawako." And everybody in the bus was like, "Whoa!" And next thing you know, everybody's now talking to me like, "Oh, you speak Tagalog? Where are you coming from?" And 20 minutes early, there's 50 people on the bus, and not one person said hi to me. Now everyone's coming over and talking to me because I can speak Tagalog. So just think that just by using a few phrases, people will respond nicer to you. And don't think credit cards are available everywhere, because they're not. When I first went to Cambodia, there was no ATM machines. I mean, there may have been one ATM machine in the entire country, and there was one escalator in the city of Phnom Penh. And people would just come over just to ride up the escalator because they'd never seen one before, and they never were on one. So it was just a day trip just to go on an escalator. And it was cash only. But now they have those blue spots and everything where you can use a credit card anywhere you want, and businesses now use them tremendously. And lastly, remember, how you act overseas is how everybody's going to see all Americans. When I was in Korea, a lot of people were really afraid of me, and finally they admitted that their only exposure to Americans were Jerry Springer. And they said after they met me, it totally changed. Oh, it's Jerry Springer and Cops. Them are the two shows. So they had a very negative opinion of Americans. And so they, and Cheaters. Cheaters, Jerry Springer, and Cops. So they said they had a very negative opinion of Americans until they met me and found out what they saw on TV was not how all Americans act. So your actions are going to reflect on people of your own country. And sadly enough, Americans are going to get the blunt of all negative opinions around the world. A person from England can do something, a person from Canada can do something, but as soon as they get caught, the first reaction is, look at that American. Don't do that, please. Now, I rip on backpackers because they do a lot of crazy stuff. These younger kids go to Thailand. Some of them just do stupid stuff. I mean, sit on top of taxi cabs, stand on the back, beg. They don't want to pay for anything. They want free rides. They want people to give them more money to go other places. Oh, please don't do that. You're embarrassing all of us. So you're really embarrassing all of us. And there's another group of tourists that I won't talk about. They embarrass everybody. So please just do not do anything embarrassing to everybody. All right, thank you, everyone.